The Chase Sapphire Reserve is unquestionably one of the best and most straightforward travel credit cards, and it's become a really popular alternative to travel cards like the American Express Platinum as frustrations with American Express continue to grow. But I don't care, I'm avoiding the Chase Sapphire Reserve in 2024, and in this video, I'm going to go through the exact reasons why. But so that you understand the full picture and why I'm ultimately avoiding the Chase Sapphire Reserve, let's go through some of the best benefits on the Sapphire Reserve and who this card works best for. So the Chase Sapphire Reserve does have a $550 annual fee, which makes it a high-end travel card and much more expensive than the $95 Chase Sapphire Preferred. However, the Chase Sapphire Reserve right off the bat can pretty significantly reduce your effective fee, since you will get a flexible $300 annual travel credit that can be used for a lot of different travel purchases and doesn't constrain you to needing to use the Chase Travel Portal. If you were considering adding the Sapphire Reserve in the first place, then you want to be someone who travels a decent amount. And so I think that $300 annual travel credit is going to be pretty easy to use and can decrease your effective fee down to just $250. Beyond the travel credit, another one of the best benefits on the Chase Sapphire Reserve is going to be the point multipliers, as the Chase Sapphire Reserve gives you point multipliers of 10x back on hotels and car rentals booked through the Chase Travel Portal, 5x back on flights booked through the Chase Travel Portal, 3x back on dining, and then 3x back on travel. So if you're someone who is traveling a lot and is paying cash for some of that travel, then those travel point multipliers can be really valuable, especially since you'll get those high multipliers when you book travel through the Chase Travel Portal. But then you can also use that flexible 3x travel category for booking platforms like Airbnb. Next up, the most impactful benefit on the Chase Sapphire Reserve is going to be the travel redemption capabilities, as you'll get 50% high redemption value when you redeem points for travel through the Chase Travel Portal, and you'll have the ability to transfer your points out to Chase's travel partners. Transferring Chase points out to Chase's travel partners is going to be what allows you to get the highest possible redemption value, but you'll get that same travel partner capability with the much cheaper $95 Chase Sapphire Preferred. So the unique value that is specific to the Chase Sapphire Reserve is that 50% high redemption value when you book travel through the Chase Travel Portal. I'll dive into this more in a second, but if you're someone who travels domestically pretty frequently or uses the Chase Travel Portal a lot, then that benefit can be really valuable. Finally, the last major benefit on the Chase Sapphire Reserve is going to be the airport lounge access. The Sapphire Reserve is going to give you access to Priority Pass lounges, which will include Priority Pass restaurants as well. Plus, the Chase Sapphire Reserve is going to give you access to Chase Sapphire lounges as well, which right now are pretty limited locations. But just like with Capital One, Chase is planning to expand their Chase Sapphire lounge locations pretty quickly in the future. And then the Chase Sapphire Reserve is also going to give you access to Sapphire Terrace locations, which includes a location in Austin, Texas. So those are some of the best benefits on the Chase Sapphire Reserve, but who does this card ultimately work best for? Well, to start with, your travel frequency is definitely going to play a part in this, because you need to be in a position where you can maximize the $300 travel credit and hopefully get some good value from the travel-related point multipliers as well. Additionally, location is absolutely going to play a factor in who the Sapphire Reserve ultimately works best for as well, because the Sapphire Reserve is going to work best for people to where the lounge opportunities on the Sapphire Reserve align with the lounge options at your home airport. And then probably most importantly, your travel preferences are going to play a major factor in whether the Sapphire Reserve is going to be the right card for you. Specifically, I think it's going to be a good idea to take a look at what your travel has looked like over the past couple of years and what your travel plans look like in the future as well. Because if your travel involves a lot of domestic travel, and so you're typically not necessarily transferring points out to travel partners as often, but instead you're just booking travel through US Airlines, for example, or if in the past you've just valued the simplicity of booking travel through the Chase Travel Portal, then the unique value of getting 1.5 cents per point for any travel that you book through the Chase Travel Portal with the Chase Sapphire Reserve is going to be most impactful and beneficial for that type of situation. However, this brings me into the first problem that I have with the Chase Sapphire Reserve and why I'm avoiding it in 2024, which is that I prioritize international travel, so I don't make that many bookings through the Chase Travel Portal. Right now, I'm 24 years old, I don't have any kids, I'm recently married, and I work a 9-to-5 job, so feasibly myself and my wife only get enough time off from our jobs to take about 2 bigger trips per year, and I have a huge yearning to want to travel as much as I possibly can because those have been some of the best times of my life to see other cultures and some of the amazing places throughout the world. So yes, there definitely are places that I want to travel to domestically, but since I do have a full-time job, so I have limited opportunities to travel in the first place, I like to get completely out of my comfort zone and see cultures and places that are completely different from anything I've experienced. So in those limited travel opportunities that I have, I'm going to be prioritizing international travel. Yes, I do go on some shorter trips to like visit friends from college, for example, but a lot of times those trips are somewhat localized, so they're usually on the West Coast and they're shorter and cheaper trips that I'll usually just pay cash for. And if I do have any longer, more expensive domestic trips, so like for example, this year I'm going to Hawaii, then what I'll do is I'll utilize the Alaska companion fare that I get on my Alaska Airlines credit card each year to help offset a good chunk of that cost. Additionally, yes, I have to admit that I have booked travel through the Chase travel portal occasionally, even for international trips. So on my previous trip that I took a couple months ago to Panama and Colombia, I flew back from Cartagena, Colombia to the US, and unfortunately I wasn't able to find any great travel partner flight opportunities flying back from Cartagena, so instead I utilized the Chase travel portal to book flights on Delta. However, when you travel internationally, booking travel through travel partners is always the option that you're gonna want to pursue if you can, because doing so is pretty much always going to give you the highest redemption value, and especially when you're traveling internationally is almost always going to get you more value than the 1.5 cents per point that you get when you book travel through the Chase travel portal with the Sapphire Reserve. To further reinforce that, like I said, I booked my travel back from Colombia back to the US utilizing the Chase travel portal. So if I had the Sapphire Reserve, I would get 1.5 cents per point for that booking. But on the way to Panama to start my trip, I was able to utilize Aeroplan as a travel partner, and because of that, I was able to get over 4 cents per point for that booking. Ultimately, just based on what my travel preferences are, at least over the next couple of years, which is to travel internationally as much as I possibly can, using travel partners is always going to be my #1 option. And I get that same travel partner capability on the much cheaper $95 Chase Sapphire Preferred. So because of that, the Sapphire Preferred just makes way more sense for my own situation than the Sapphire Reserve. Okay, but let's be honest, knowing which credit cards are going to be best for your own situation and which credit cards are going to be best for each individual purchase is not always black and white, and so sometimes navigating the world of credit card rewards can be somewhat of a nightmare. Wouldn't it be great if someone could tell you which credit card you should use for each purchase and when, and wouldn't it be nice to know if you are missing out on an opportunity to earn more? Well, then let me introduce you to Kudos. You're going to want to listen closely because they are going to give the first 50 people who download Kudos using my link $20 in rewards for free. Kudos is a free browser extension that helps you get the most out of your credit cards whenever you shop online. So how it works is that at checkout, Kudos automatically appears, recommends the best credit card to get you the most rewards, and then doubles your earnings on over 15,000 sites. That means that if you typically earn 3% back in rewards when you shop at Walmart, you'll now earn 6% back with Kudos. Now, obviously, you might be wondering about the cost, but here's the deal, Kudos is completely free. There are no hidden costs, and Kudos simply earns a small commission whenever you shop at one of their partnered sites. So what are you waiting for? Kudos works on all major desktop browsers and your iPhone, so simply just click the link below and use the code MATT to get Kudos for free today. As I mentioned, to sweeten the deal, Kudos is giving the first 50 people who download Kudos using my link $20 back in rewards after your first eligible purchase. Trust me, there's a reason why Card Rates rates Kudos the #1 app to multiply your credit card rewards. Stop leaving money on the table and join the 150,000 members who are utilizing Kudos to get over 100 million in credit card rewards. Once again, click the link below and use the code MATT to add Kudos for free and start earning more rewards today. The next problem that I have with the Chase Sapphire Reserve is that the $300 annual travel credit just doesn't do enough. Like I mentioned earlier, the Chase Sapphire Reserve gives you a $300 annual travel credit, and I think that travel credit by itself is really useful and can get you a lot of value since you can use it for a lot of different travel purchases. But while that travel credit on the Chase Sapphire Reserve does decrease your effective fee down to just $250, that is the only tangible benefit on the Chase Sapphire Reserve in terms of specific numerical value. Because for example, all of the other key value on the Sapphire Reserve, so like the 50% redemption boost, is pretty subjective, and how much value you get just depends on each person's own situation. This is a pretty big problem for me because unless I know that there are some specific intangible benefits that I know I can get significant value from, I typically like to hold credit cards where I know I can get specific tangible value from the benefits or the credits. With that said, the Sapphire Reserve can get you down to an effective fee of $250 And like I said earlier, the best benefit outside of that is probably going to be the 50% redemption boost when you book travel through the Chase travel portal. So the question then becomes, is that 50% redemption boost going to get you enough value to get to that $250 effective fee? Well, like I said earlier, I don't personally use the Chase travel portal all that often, but a couple months ago, I did utilize the Chase travel portal to book flights for both myself and Lucia back from Colombia to the US. So if we take a look at that specific travel redemption, I used my Chase Sapphire Preferred to get a 25% boost when I booked those flights through the Chase travel portal. And so I needed to use 49,000 Chase points for that flight, which had a cash rate of $620. But if I had the Chase Sapphire Reserve instead, and so I got a 50% boost, then I would have only needed to use about 41,000 Chase points. So in this case, the difference between having the Chase Sapphire Preferred or if I had the Chase Sapphire Reserve instead would be about 8,000 Chase points, which isn't like that much. It would represent a low end value of like $80 to a high end value of like $160, just depending on how I would have redeemed those Chase points. Overall, this would still come up pretty short of the $250 effective fee on the Chase Sapphire Reserve. And I totally understand that some of you are making multiple travel bookings through the Chase travel portal every year. And so the Chase Sapphire Reserve could actually make sense for you if the value from those bookings are adding up to a lot more value. But in my case, I'm not making any more than like 1 to 2 travel bookings through the Chase travel portal, even on the high end every year. Because like I said, with my previous reason on why I'm avoiding the Chase Sapphire Reserve, I'm currently at a point in my life where I'm really prioritizing international travel. And due to that prioritization, it feels like the Chase travel portal is just an excuse for me to be lazy and not do enough research to find a good travel partner redemption, which overall is probably going to get me a lot more value. The next problem that I have with the Chase Sapphire Reserve isn't necessarily a problem with the Sapphire Reserve specifically, but more so due to my own location and travel preferences. Before I get into that though, if you've been enjoying this video so far, then do me a huge favor and hit that like button and check to see if you're subscribed, because doing so is a free and easy way to help support my channel and I would really appreciate it. Okay, but essentially I live in the Seattle area, so my home airport is in Seattle and I fly out of that airport the most often. So if we discuss the lounge opportunities with the Sapphire Reserve along with the lounge options that I have at the Seattle airport, I would get access to some priority pass lounges with the Sapphire Reserve. And yes, there are some priority pass lounges at the Seattle airport, but to be honest, they're really not that great. Plus, there are no Sapphire lounges or Sapphire Terrace lounges at the Seattle airport. And even with the planned expansion of Sapphire lounges in the future, Seattle is not listed as one of the locations that they're planning to expand to. Basically, what this means is that the lounge opportunities with the Chase Sapphire Reserve aren't really going to do much for me in my own situation with Seattle being my home airport. And since I am on team travel and I want to travel as much as I possibly can, I'm inevitably going to be flying out of Seattle a decent amount every single year. And I think it's really important to have consistent airport lounge access wherever your home airport is. This definitely plays a part in why I'm avoiding the Sapphire Reserve in 2024 and why I plan to get the American Express Platinum instead, since I would have significant lounge opportunities with a Centurion lounge being in Seattle. Ultimately, based on what my situation looks like right now and the problems that I listed, I am not going to be getting the Chase Sapphire Reserve in 2024, and I'll be sticking with the much more affordable Chase Sapphire Preferred, which gives me the same travel partner capability, which is the benefit that I value the most. But this is what I'm doing right now, and could this change in the future? Well, absolutely. I think the credit card game is a very fluid thing, and I think people's spending and travel preferences naturally change over time. So for example, when I have kids in the future, it might just become way more feasible to go on domestic trips instead of international ones. And if that's the case, then I would definitely consider adding the Chase Sapphire Reserve. Additionally, things can absolutely change. And so maybe I'll live in an area in the future where the Chase Sapphire Reserve lounge opportunities just make more sense. And maybe, just maybe, I'm able to take this YouTube channel full time at some point in the future. And if I'm able to do that, I'll be able to travel more domestically to do other collaborations with other creators. In conclusion, just because the Chase Sapphire Reserve is not for me right now does not mean it's not for you. And if some of the core benefits that I discussed on the Sapphire Reserve do align with your current spending and travel preferences, then feel free to use my link down below to help support the channel and apply for the Chase Sapphire Reserve. Also, when you're done watching this video, go watch this video next where I discuss why the Amex Platinum actually might not be for you, and I take the counter argument to some of the negatives on that card. Thank you all so much for watching this video, and I hope you all have a great rest of your day. Peace.